Tantra Illuminated with Dr. Christopher Wallace is a journey through the depths of the human experience, as viewed through the lens of the tradition called nondual Shaiva Tantra. This multi-format podcast delves into the fascinating world of classical Tantra and its intersections with philosophy, neuroscience, psychology, human development, and the broader world of spirituality. Hi everyone, Harish here. A little housekeeping first. The podcast will now switch to a bi-weekly schedule, so look for new episodes every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. Today's episode is a scriptural reading, and I'm sharing with you my translation of the Spanda-kārikā, the stanzas on Divine Pulsation by the great tantric master Kallaṭa, who lived in the 9th century in Kashmir. Some of the verses of this exquisite text cry out for exposition, but now I'm just presenting you with a straight translation so that it can simmer in you on a deeper level than the mental or intellectual. But if you want to see some of my commentary on these verses, you can consult the corresponding blog posts, which are linked in the show notes. And now I present the stanzas on Divine Pulsation in 52 verses. Yasyonmesha nimeshabhyam jagata pralayodayau tam shakti chakra vibhava prabhavam shankaram stumaha. We praise that Shiva, who is the source of the all-pervasive glory of the wheel of powers. When he opens his eyes, the world appears, and when he closes them, it dissolves. We praise the beneficent source of the all-pervasive activity of the wheel of the powers of awareness, the expansion of which is the arising of the world of one's experience, and the contraction of which is its dissolution. That in which all this rests, and from which it has come forth as an effect, since it has an unveiled nature, there is no obstruction of it anywhere. Essence nature, the source of all experience, flows equally in all three states of consciousness, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, none of which are other than it. In all these states, the perceiver never departs from its own essential nature. I am happy. I am suffering. I am attached, and so on. Those experiences clearly operate within another, larger context, in which states of happiness, etc., are strung together like beads on a string. Wherein there is no suffering, no happiness, no object, no subject, nor numbness either. That exists ultimately. that underlying reality due to which this group of faculties, though insentient in themselves, spontaneously come to possess sentience, and along with the inner circle of powers are able to move forth, thereby creating experience, remain, and withdraw, thereby dissolving it, is worthy of investigation with diligence and care, since natural and innate freedom inheres in it in completeness. For a person does not function through independently instigating an impulse of will, but rather by contacting the strength of the innermost self, and thus becoming equal to it. When the agitation of one who wishes to do those things that need to be done, and yet is incapacitated by his own impurity, dissolves, then there is the supreme state. Then one's unconstructed nature, characterized by spontaneous and free knowing and acting, is revealed, by which one knows and does all that one desires. How can the cycle of wrongdoing and suffering apply to one who remains surveying his essence nature with the felt sense that it indeed presides over the whole universe of one's experience, abiding, as it were, in a state of wonder? Thus, reifying the non-essential experience is always like being asleep. That reality, taught above, is never perceived as something that is merely remembered in this way. Here in this world, there are two states called agency and effect. The second is perishable, whereas the source of agency is imperishable. Only effort towards effects and goals can disappear. When that effort disappears, the foolish person feels that without it, he is nothing. There can never be any injury, violation, or destruction of one's innermost nature, which is the abode of all that needs to be known. For no other perceiver may be perceived. Realization of that is constant and undeviating in all three states for the fully awakened one, whereas for others it is perceived at the beginning and ending of each state, in the liminal times. The all-pervasive Lord appears in the states of waking and dreaming, united with the supreme power, or Shakti, in the form of cognition and that which is cognized. In the other two states of deep sleep and samadhi, he appears as pure awareness. The various flows of pulsation, such as the three gunas, attain their natures on the basis of the universal pulsation, so they could never obstruct the path of a knower. But for those whose minds are unawakened, those flows seem to strive to conceal their inner state, casting them down into the terrible path of samsara, so difficult to overcome. Thus, one who constantly applies himself to the discernment of the principle of pulsation quickly discovers his or her innate nature, even in the waking state. The pulsation abides in that state a person enters when he is enraged or delighted or running or dancing or reflecting, what am I to do? The innate vibrancy of awareness is situated within the states of rage, joy, flowing, or wondering that one fully enters into. Relying exclusively on that state, one abides in that innate vibrancy, resolving, I will certainly do whatever it tells me. Having taken refuge in that state, the moon and sun both set into the graceful path through the upward way, leaving behind the egg of Brahma. Then in that great void in which moon and sun have melted away, those who have not recognized their essence nature enter a sleep-like state, but those who are awakened remain open and unveiled. Mantras, attaining that innate power, become suffused with divine force, enabling them to perform their respective functions, like the senses of embodied beings. Then they dissolve completely into that same power, becoming quiescent and stainless, along with the mind of the one who worships them. Therefore, mantras have the nature of Shiva himself. The embodied soul consists of all things, since all states arise within and from its awareness, and because it perceives its identity with the awareness it has of all those things. Therefore, that state which is not Shiva does not exist in word, thing, or thought. It is only the experiencer which is everywhere and always existing as the very substance of that which is experienced. One who has this kind of realization, seeing the whole world as a divine play, remains permanently connected to reality and is liberated while embodied, without a doubt. Only this constitutes the arising of the object of meditation in the mind of the meditator, the practitioner's realization of identity with it through the power of will. Only this is the attainment of the nectar of immortality. Only this is grasping the nature of identity. And this is the true liberating initiation, the nirvana diksha that bestows the state of Shiva. The one who ordains and orders all things, when entreated with an impulse of pure desire, causes the moon and sun to rise and bestows those goals residing in the heart of an embodied being who is awake. In the same way, even while dreaming, that one residing in the center always clearly reveals all desired things and goals, because that one never disregards any loving entreaty. Otherwise, the generation of objects of experience continues of its own accord in the states of both waking and dreaming, just as it does for worldly folk. Just as any object or experience might be unclear when first seen, even by one with an attentive mind, yet appears more clearly when recognized through the exertion of one's innate capacity. In the same way, by seizing hold of the innate capacity of one's being, anything that exists becomes immediately manifest to the awakened one as it really is, whatever be its form, locus, or condition. Even a frail person who takes hold of that can do whatever needs to be done. And likewise, one who is very hungry for food or experience is able to quell that hunger. When the body is sustained and governed by this essence nature, one knows everything one needs to know about it. In the same way, due to abiding in one's self, the same will apply with reference to every situation. Depression or lassitude is like a thief in the body. Its source is lack of awareness. If it is eliminated by the unfolding of one's essence nature, how could it return once its cause is no more? When one is occupied with one thought, and some other thought or inspiration arises spontaneously, that should be known as the unfolding. One should focus on the source of that in oneself. From that, bindu, the point of ultimacy. From that, nada, the supreme resonance. And from that, appearance. And from that, taste. These arise in rapid succession as activations and potential disturbances for the embodied one. But when one abides, meeting everything with openness, then, well, what is the use of talking much? One must experience that for oneself. Perceiving the whole field with wisdom, that one remains ever awake. Always directing everything to the one, depositing everything in the one, attributing everything to the one. She or he is never oppressed by an other. By contrast, one whose innate glory is seemingly removed by the limiting powers and has become a plaything of the various powers that arise from the mass of phonemes, is known as a bound creature. For such a one, the burgeoning of ideas and concepts that arise in relation to direct experience constitutes the loss of the sweet taste of the supreme nectar. As a result, she or he loses his or her freedom and independence. One's linguistic powers are always in readiness to conceal one's true nature, since ideas and concepts cannot arise unpenetrated by words. This power of God, called the capacity to act, lives in the unawakened as a binding force. Yet when she is realized on her own path, she brings about all attainments. The unliberated one is besieged and obscured by the psyche, which resides in the mind, ego, and faculty of judgment, and takes the form of the sense capacities, mental imagery, and memories. Such a one helplessly undergoes the kind of experience that is produced by cognitions and concepts arising from the psyche, due to which he or she wanders in the cycle of suffering. For this reason, we explain how to bring about an end to that cycle. But when he or she is firmly rooted in the one, then they become capable of bringing about at will the arising and dissolving of that experience produced by cognitions and concepts. He becomes capable of bringing about the arising and dissolving of the psyche itself, and thereby attains the state of being the universal experiencer, and consequently becomes the Lord of the circle, the Lady of the circle, the mandala of one's own existence. I venerate the wondrous oral transmission of my Guru, the various words and meanings of which constitute the salvific power that enables one to cross over the deep ocean of doubt. Om. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, you can always find out more about the tradition of non-dual Shaiva Tantra at tantrailluminated.org, where, if you wish, you can become a subscriber to our online learning portal, and you'll receive access to a vast number of recordings, including a comprehensive curriculum in tantric philosophy, tantric yoga, guided meditation, and much, much more. Music for the podcast composed and recorded by Ann Leader. Find her at annleader.com. Podcast produced by Grazia Tribulato. New episodes drop every week, and may all beings benefit.